I think there is nothing wrong in it. Like that gentleman who wrote about the Jare Viking, he was obviously very proud of being on the largest man-made object. Because of all these factors, the ship owners started reducing the manpower on board, which we all know. But following a few more days, more months, then I knew that I couldn't survive like this on board. I had to come out, dig myself out of this situation. If you go to their website, they've got a 12-year-old boy who has done his graduation.
Sir, there are so many aspiring candidates. Those want to join Merchant Navy, a rating, TME, deck cadet, saloon. Sir, what is your advice for them?
My advice to any seafarer would be that it is a hands-on job. So if you go with that sort of mindset, you will be much more comfortable in this job. If you're looking for like a white-collar job, then this is not the one. We value teamwork and then have a bit of a Fauji mindset.
Welcome to Sailor Talk, the podcast that navigates to the fascinating stories of Merchant Navy. I am your host, Jaspreet, and today we will have a very special episode. I am introducing to a second generation chief engineer. His father is a chief engineer, his brother is a captain, and he himself sailing at sea for last 20 years. I am welcoming to Gur Amrit Singh Kalon.
Thank you so much, Jaspreet.
Sir, again.
Pleased to be on your show.
Yes, sir. Again, I am welcoming you on my channel, Sailor Talk. As I have read your book, there are so many good stories. But I just want to talk about a thing which started in 1983 when you were a 1.5-year-old.
That's right, yeah.
You joined a vessel with your father. And your father is sailing there as a second engineer.
That time, second engineer. Yes.
That time is a second engineer.
That's right.
So could you enlighten us how the things happened that time,
Absolutely.
how you joined, and what is your feeling, how your father felt? Maybe nowadays it's not possible to join on the age of 1.5 because companies change their policy.
I think minimum age restriction is 3 years.
3 years.
That's right, yeah. Okay, I'll give you a little bit background of myself. We are a farming family from a place called Sherpur near Batala.
Okay.
And my ancestors had migrated from a place called Shekhupura in Pakistan.
Okay, in 1947.
1947. So they came across the Firozpur border and they were in a refugee camp for about 2 years in Moga.
Okay.
And thereafter they were allotted permanent land in a village called Sherpur.
Okay.
Which is about 9 kilometers from Batala. So my father had his upbringing in that village. He went to a local school.
Okay.
Where they had a phatti to write, and they didn't have any notebooks. So I think it was called Gachni
and phatti.
Mitti and
yes.
Phatti. So he's educated on that sort of means of writing in those days. And thereafter he enrolled himself in BSc, which was in Batala. Thereafter,
and from, like, I can say that from Phatti and Gachni, he
reaches
to a BSc.
He's made it big in life, not just the BSc, but in terms of any other thing that he's done, he had a respectable profession, earned a respectable living for himself. So talking about BSc, he was doing this in Bering College in Batala.
Oh, that is very famous college.
It is.
If I'm not wrong, I think that
building.
College belongs to Maharaja Ranjit Singh.
Absolutely. That building belongs to Maharaja Ranjit Singh. I think it was...
Nihal Singh.
I would imagine, yeah.
Right.
That is correct. So while he was still doing his BSc, 1 year senior to him, his friend, he had started doing electrical engineering in Guru Nanak Engineering College. Ludhiana. So that college had newly started, and the other good thing about that college was they had a reservation for students coming from a village background.
Okay.
And he suggested to my father that electrical engineering has a good future.
It's coming up.
That's the future thing rather than the BSc. So that's how my father enrolled in electrical engineering at Guru Nanak Engineering College.
Okay.
After Guru Nanak Engineering College, he was working at Salapad in Himachal Pradesh.
Sundarnagar.
Sundarnagar.
BBMB projectors there.
That's right. Sundarnagar, that place is called Salapad, I think. It's,
Yeah, Salapad.
Near Sundarnagar. And there he worked for about a year on ad hoc basis.
Okay.
The same time, one of his friends, who was very intelligent, he had been selected at the Bhabha Atomic Research Center in Bombay.
Okay.
And he had come across an advertisement in the newspaper regarding requirement for marine engineers.
Okay.
He posted the form to my dad. My dad filled up the form, posted it back to him.
A true friendship, actually.
Very good friendship, yeah. And his friend actually went to the SCI office in Nariman Point
Okay.
and deposited his form.
Okay.
He got an interview call.
Okay.
He went there. He was selected, but he had some financial constraints. Family wasn't rich, still trying to recover after the post-partition struggles. Anyway, he did manage to secure a loan for himself. Thereafter, he joined I think Garden Reach training
Okay.
in Calcutta. This was somewhere in 1976 or late 1975,
Okay.
somewhere there. He completed 1 year training there. It was 1 year for electrical engineers, while it was, I think, about 8 months for mechanical engineers.
Okay.
So he completed his 1 year training. Thereafter, he joined his first vessel, Vishwa Vikram.
Okay.
So that's how he started.
Okay.
But coming back to your question, where I sailed with him, that was, you are right, in 1983. So like I said, my father started with SCI in 1975, and 83 he was second engineer on this vessel called Vishwa Amitabh.
Vishwa Amitabh.
Vishwa Amitabh.
SCI vessel.
SCI vessel. This was a series of 6 A series, they were called.
Okay.
Built in East Germany.
Okay.
And my father was second engineer on Vishwa Amitabh, and that was our first family sailing.
Okay.
My elder brother, me, my mother, we were all there. And what my mother tells me is that's where I learned to walk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So means that
obviously, I cannot claim that I remember anything about Vishwa Amitabh.
Okay.
Rather, a lot of ships later also, I don't remember much. My memory is from when I was about 5 years old, but we can talk about it later. But yeah, that's the story which I've written, partially mentioned in my book, that we went on Vishwa Amitabh. But the part that I did not mention was that that's what my mother told me, that I learned to walk while I must have been a late walker. Normally they start
Yeah.
walking 1 year old. I was about 1.5.
Yeah.
I used to crawl, and then I started to walk.
Okay.
Normal, that was on Vishwa Amitabh.
So I can say that you start walking while ship is rolling and pitching.
Well, you could say that, yeah. So probably the rolling and pitching helped me learn
Two things.
learn to walk, yeah.
Yeah, learn to walk and to be a more stable in difficult situations.
I would
Later
agree.
on in life.
I would agree, yes. Yeah, it's not a bad thought. I would agree totally on that one.
So, sir, this is about your family, about your father, brother. Does your father, as he's a chief engineer, your brother is a captain, does they influence you to join merchant navy?
Actually, no. Nobody influenced us or persuaded us to join sea.
Okay.
I'll tell you all this experience that I'm talking about us sailing with our dad as a family.
Okay.
This was the 80s.
Okay.
And sailing in the 80s was very, very nice.
Okay.
Consider we were from a village background.
Okay.
So there was a massive change in our environment.
Okay.
From a village environment where there was, even the houses didn't have a proper architecture.
Okay.
We would start, if you've read my book.
Yeah, I read.
So we would start on a tonga.
Yeah.
And Tonga reach Batala, take a bus, all that thing, train. So what I mean is we would change the means of transportation.
Okay.
And it was a massive change from a Tanga to finally a ship. Imagine that. Somebody starting from a Tanga and then reaching on a massive ship. So that was a massive change. That was one. And number two, when you reached on board, that accommodation felt like a 5-star accommodation. There were telephones, there was phone, attached washroom, drawing room, and my father's office, the chief engineer's office, very attractive, that one. And you suddenly saw a very proper architecture of an accommodation, which you didn't see back home, at least at that time. It is different for a kid of today's age, because today's houses are far more better designed. So a kid, when he goes from this kind of environment to
On board.
to a ship, he does not find it. At least I don't think he would find it very fascinating, because
He's having all these things at home
he's
nowadays.
used to proper architecture.
Yeah,
Going and he would probably fly out joining a ship.
right.
But wasn't the case with us.
He will be on a tanga, then bus, then train, then on a vessel, like
For us
all
it-
mode of
That's
transportation.
Right. That's right. For us, it was excitement right from the start.
Okay.
You know, that time obviously we couldn't process it this way, that it is a Tonga, then train and all of that. But the journey was very exciting.
Okay.
And that's what I mentioned in the book.
So
yeah.
that influenced you to join a merchant
No, it's not that one actually. So, yeah, all these ships which we did with our father as young kids, I think there were 5 of them. There was Vishwa Amitabh, Vishwa Apurva, Samrat Ashok, Satyamurthy. I think there was one other, I'm forgetting the name now.
Okay.
So that was my childhood sailing with my dad. Before, in 1989, my brother joined this boarding school, the Punjab Public School, Naba.
PPS Naba.
That's right. And I followed suit the following year, 1990.
Okay.
Then I passed 10th class from Punjab Public School, Naba in 1997. Thereafter, 98 and 99, I did my 12th from SD Public School.
Chandigarh.
SD Public School, Chandigarh. And until that time, this is a fact that I did not have any sort of ambition. And this was a very popular concept for any parent or for any grown-up to ask a young man, what is your ambition in life? It used to be a very standard question. And I remember one of my cousins once asking me, what is your ambition? And I thought for a bit that, this question was difficult for me to answer, because I didn't have an ambition. And after that few seconds, I gave him a very honest reply that I don't have an ambition, which he was very disappointed to hear.
Even I am disappointing now, because from my PPS Naba, and you were saying that no, I don't have any.
I would agree, because PPS Naba is
one of the prominent
first scenic school in
Right,
India.
right.
So you would imagine pass out from that school to have some sort of ambition,
Right.
at least the military, because that's
Right,
where
right,
most
because
of
yes,
the students.
Yes.
That's
And
where
that is the era, like when you're talking about most of the most of the students of PPS Naba, they joined either military services or IAS, IPS, like so on,
Haji.
these kind of jobs.
That's right. I'll come to PPS, but let me just finish this part. So, yeah, I didn't have an ambition. I passed my 12th. I appeared for a few exams, IIT, AET. It used to be called CET that time.
Yeah, common entrance test.
I cleared some, not IIT, but I did clear CET, I think, yeah.
Okay.
But somehow, I didn't want to join any of those engineering colleges.
Okay.
And just about the same time, while I was preparing for all these examinations, in the Sunday Tribune appeared an article about the Jahre Viking.
The biggest tanker on
The
those times.
biggest tanker in the world ever built.
Yeah, I think till that it is still biggest one. If I'm not
till
wrong.
date, it is the biggest man-made object.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man-made.
So it was afternoon. I had taken a little nap, and post my nap, I happened to pick up this newspaper, and I see this article about Jahre Viking. This was actually a surprise, because normally, even till date, you would never see any newspaper publish anything about the shipping.
Any
About the
article.
ships or shipping, seafarers, there's never anything published. So that was a bit of a surprise that they had published about Jahre Viking. And that was because one of the seafarers from Chandigarh, he had been on that vessel.
Baljeet Singh,
Was he?
I think.
I
If
don't.
I'm not
I wouldn't
wrong.
know. I've
Anyways,
forgotten. I'll have
okay.
to read the article. Probably his name
Okay.
is mentioned there, but I think I've forgotten his name. But I would still have to thank him for having that article published. So by the time I had finished that article, Believe me, I had a very strong inclination to join
Towards-
sea, and I
okay.
wanted to be on that ship.
Okay.
That sort of kiddish madness,
Okay.
I had. So we took it up. My mother took it up with. I spoke about it to my mother, and my mother spoke to my father. My father, I would have thought that he would get very angry. He would be very angry, me wanting to join sea, because he had always mentioned about the difficulties at sea, being away from family, all the difficulties that we know as seafarers we face. And but to my surprise, he immediately agreed. Once
But I think initially he is not happy like any of you or your brother
he didn't want any of us to join
join
sea.
us shipping.
He didn't want any of us to join, but so it happened. And then there was this institute called AMED, Academy of Maritime Education and Training. That was a satellite institute for Glasgow College of Nautical Studies. So this was an HND marine engineering program. They had a nautical science as well. And we were to do the courses designed 1 year in the college, second year on board, and third year back to college.
Okay.
But ours was slightly different. We were to do 1 year in Chennai, second year in Glasgow, and the third year on board.
Okay.
So 1999 September I joined AMET. Next year I went to UK. 2001 I started my career.
Okay.
So yeah, but your question that did anyone influence you? No, it was rather the other way around, and it just so happened. I think destiny had a part to play.
Okay.
So that was my seafaring career.
But
But
I can sorry to intervene you, but you said nothing is influenced you, right? To join
Nothing,
Okay.
absolutely nothing.
But after hearing all this story, yeah, entire thing what you mentioned, I felt those days some of the guys are from the merchant marine. They are writing for the newspapers, and one of them, on those days, he wrote a particular article on Jahare Viking, and after reading that article, you made your mind to join a merchant navy.
That's right, yes.
I think someone has to come forward to write for a newspaper.
I think there is nothing wrong in it. Like that gentleman who wrote about the Jahare Viking, he was obviously very proud of being on the largest man-made object.
And I think if he is listening now, then he
Hanji,
must
hanji.
be very happy. I generated one of the very
On a second thought, I think Baljeet Singh was the author of that article,
okay,
not the gentleman who had been on board.
okay,
It rings a bell in my mind now. Baljeet Singh, I remember his name written on just under the heading.
yes.
Yeah, Baljeet Singh was the gentleman who wrote that article.
Okay, but he is not on board.
Yeah, I think in the article there is a name. There is
Okay.
somebody. I think he was Kang. The last name was Kang. But nevertheless, you are right. Somebody should be writing about seafarers, shipping. That'll spread more knowledge among the general population, who probably are not as aware about our profession.
Yeah, you are.
And as for me, I was rather influenced from that article. Yeah. So yeah, that article influenced me. So we have an answer. What influenced you? That article.
that
influenced
article
me.
from the that
So,
Tribune
Yeah.
about Jahare Viking.
Jahare Viking. That's right. So that's
Okay.
the article that influenced me. Or rather long story, but that's what influenced
Yeah.
me.
So moving further, sir, you joined your first vessel in, as you said, 2000.
I joined in 2001 with Fleet Management Limited.
Okay,
This was a chemical tanker.
okay.
Yeah. So this was a joining in Rotterdam, 2001.
So here is still most of the guys still struggling for a job after clearing their exams from a college. They are looking for a cadetship. Is there any difficulty to get on board, to get in a company, or your father help you, or some challenges are there which you had during that time?
Certainly, the the lack of placement was there back then as well. You had to struggle. Some people had to wait for a year or even longer.
Okay.
And now I think it is much worse from what
Yes.
we hear.
Yes.
Some people pay bribes to agents and stuff. At least I didn't have to go through that one.
Okay.
But I went for my college. They had arranged for a direct interview with Fleet Management Limited,
Okay.
and that's how I got selected there.
Okay, that is very fair. But nowadays it is very difficult.
It is
to-
very difficult.
Very difficult
Yeah, yeah.
to get a job.
So we hear a lot of sad stories about young seafarers wanting a placement, and they having to pay to agents and all, and then losing their money. Some people have to. A lot of the youngsters have quit their sea life altogether. So that's killing their dreams and ambitions. I totally feel for them. Yeah, that is true. But yeah, placement difficulties were existent back then. Maybe not as bad as today, but they were existent back then as well.
So, sir, we can say that the newcomers, those are joining now a merchant navy. For them, there is a more competition than those days, and or maybe we can say that the those are joining. They are not fully aware. They are paying a bribe or money to agents, or finally they end up their dreams and career midway.
I think there are a lot of reasons. So one, like you said, population is one.
Okay.
I remember in 2000 when India had reached a population of 1 billion, and I think now we are 1.4. So that certainly has an impact. The population has an impact. That is one, and number two, a lot of the there are some institutes like the Sims for executive, and I think Great Eastern also have their own institute. So what they do is they train and they give you a placement on board their vessels. But I believe there are other ways also to do your training. Either you are a mechanical engineer or you are a marine engineer. There are ways to get your basic qualification to join the ship. And if you are not sponsored, then you don't get a placement. It is not. It's the same for anybody, not just the trainee engineers. It's the same for deck cadets. It's the same for anybody trying to join as a rating.
Yeah.
Anybody
for
trying to join as a rating, it is the same for everybody. That there are more pass outs than the number of placements available.
Okay. So this is very sensitive topic which we touched just now. When we think about it, we see a very good life on a social media about merchant navy, and obviously that is true also. Some of the people living up to on those dreams, and that's why they are posting this stuff. But sir, what is the illusion and reality of merchant navy with your experience, as you are from the maritime family where you had direct family members are sailing? I think many more in your relation and in your friend circle also. So, sir, what would you like to say on this?
I think I'll have to go back into history to give you a little idea, just to relate the present times
Okay.
with the question that you've just asked. You see, about 100 years ago or even longer, when the ships became mechanized and we started having steam propulsion and all of that, even that time we had a large number of crews. I think very easily over 100. As time progressed, World War I, World War II, there was development. Diesel engines replaced the steam engines as the main means of propulsion, and then there were further advancements in automation as well. So because of all these factors, the ship owners started reducing the manpower on board, which we all know. From hundreds, nowadays we have about 20 people on board ships.
Yeah.
So that has influenced shipping a lot. So back in the day, when you had 100 people, then they were reduced down to 50s or 60s. And coincidentally, I'm going to talk about the 50s, 1950s, 60s, and the 70s, which is called the
golden era of shipping.
From 50 to 1972 is the golden era of shipping, and the ships which had derricks and the likes of Vishwa Amitabh and Vishwa Apurva, the ones I'm talking about. And those kind of ships, I think, started around the mid 50s, and they were built till the late 70s.
Okay.
And they were called the romantic ships of those areas.
Romantic ships.
They were called the romantic ships. I think that was because they looked very pretty. They were tall, and they went to a lot of ports where they stayed alongside, sometimes
for longer time.
For longer, month, 2 months, My father tells me the first vessel Vishwa Vikram, he went to New York and the vessel stayed there for 2 weeks.
So you are about to get PR of America.
Yes. Then the second time he went to Vancouver, there also he was there for I think 2 months or something.
Okay.
So although the salaries were lesser that time, but the life was relaxed and people, at least it was comfortable to be on board. You were not at sea all the time, and the work pressures were much lesser because of the lack of communication between the ship and the shore. You didn't have so much reporting. You could make decisions on board. But as time progressed, we had more automation. We had better communication. So we had very less people on board, and the control, as a matter of fact, is not sitting on board at the moment. The control
Control
is
is back
ashore
in
in the head office.
Yes.
So you are dictated a lot of the things from the office, whether you like it or not. So, which a lot of the seafarers probably will agree with me that we as seafarers don't like so much of this dictation that this should be done this way and all of that. We would like to have it our own way because we are the people on the spot and we see it firsthand, and we probably can make a better decision than somebody sitting far ashore. But yes, your question now comes to it. People's perception in the society is still back in the day.
They are still thinking.
Yeah. So let me touch upon the salary first of all.
Okay.
In the post-independence, at least I know, people had very few career options. So the major one was military, Army, Air Force, and the Navy, which was the most lucrative career of that time. Then yes, if you could also become IAS, IPS, which is still there. You be a government official of that nature. But we didn't have the private sector as what we have today. So if I go back to the 50s, 60s and 70s, and then I compare the salaries of military officers or the government officials with seafarers, seafarers were probably better off. They had a higher salary. But in the current times, when there is a lot of private sector, a lot of lucrative jobs in the private sector, I don't think that thing holds good anymore, because in the private sector also people get paid a lot, if not better, at par with the shipping industry. Plus the reason that I mentioned that sailing is no longer comfortable. You don't get time to go outside. You don't get to see the world as people in the advertisements, they show it to the youngsters that you'll be seeing the world earning a handsome salary. So these are the two of their chief points that they're trying to sell to the youngsters, that you'll be traveling to the world with a great salary. So you don't travel the world, all you see is inside of the ship, inside of your accommodation, inside of your bridge, or inside of your engine room. That's what you mostly see. You don't get to go outside as much as people used to back in the day. And the other thing is the salary part. Yeah, we are not bad, but yes, in this private sector also people earn a lot good salaries. So we are not at the top anymore.
Okay. So you are saying that the job requirements are more, and the salary.
There is more pressure now.
More pressure now.
More lack of manpower, more interference from the head office. Yeah, there is more pressure now.
There is a more pressure, and
more pressure.
Salary is not as good as the people, those are working ashore or those are working in other field. Like early back days, I remember a merchant navy. Okay, he's 6 months at home and 6 months on board, and he brought a lot of money back home, and he can survive for a 6 month.
That's right. I'll give you a little comparison, a factual one. In the 90s, when my father, he switched from shipping corporation to the foreign companies. Chief engineer's 6 months salary, you could buy a 1 canal plot in Chandigarh, Mohali at least, not in Chandigarh, but in Mohali.
In 6 months salary?
In 6 months salary. And now, no, not even close. Not even close.
So that is the reality.
So that's the change that I've seen, where our salaries have not kept up to the times and all of that. But the truth also is that we are competing with other nationalities. We are competing with other Southeast Asian countries who probably have a larger seafarer base than us. So I don't know which, how should the companies play this out, because if you hike the salaries, then you lose the jobs.
Yes.
You understand? You need to be competitive with the other seafaring nations as well. So that's the thing. That's the challenge. But nevertheless, I've talked a lot about the negatives of shipping at the moment. Probably painted a realistic picture. But nevertheless, it is still a good profession. This
Okay.
does not, it's just like saying that if somebody has had a divorce, doesn't mean the marriage as an institution has failed completely.
Right, right, right.
So seafaring as a profession is still not bad. There are a lot of aspects of shipping which will hold you good in life.
Like
Becau-
what?
You know, first of all, you learn to be on your own, survive on your own, self-motivated. See, when do you go to sea? You go to sea in your late teens or early 20s. That's for everybody. A rating or an officer, anybody goes, that's when they go to sea. So the first challenge, I'll talk about my experience, exactly how I felt. Although I was from a seafaring family, and I knew quite a lot about the ship structure and all the difficulties and the realistic picture of how you feel when you go on board the first time. But I tell you, going on my first vessel in 2001, joining in Rotterdam, I was very excited. Saw this vessel, beautiful vessel, empty Ivory Spirit. She was fresh from the yard, only a year old, and she looked very pretty. But once I went on board, kept my luggage aside, and got involved in the jobs. That's when you kind of feel that things have changed. Suddenly from that excitement, you get you have to follow orders. The second engineer was giving me order. I didn't have a problem with that. I knew all about it. I didn't have a problem, but it's not something that I quite easily adapted to it. You understand what I mean? I didn't quite easily adapt to it. And then I remember sailing from Rotterdam to a port in France through the English Channel, very bad weather, and a lot of
Short
seasickness,
boys.
vomiting all the time. And I thought, first 1 week, I thought that I made the biggest mistake of my life. I should never have been at sea. But following a few more days, more months, then I knew that I couldn't survive like this on board. I had to come out, dig myself out of this situation, out of this mindset. So I started, I was asked to trace lines. That's what trainees get asked to do when you go on board. So I got involved into everything. I was picking provisions, I was tracing pipelines, I was painting, I was chipping, I was cleaning the ship, I was doing anything that one needs to do. Wherever I was required, I was there. And slowly,
So responsibility in layman language.
that time it wasn't much of a responsibility,
No,
but
but-
learning the
Yeah,
seamanship.
what I'm saying,
Hanji.
joining a first vessel from that kiddie things,
Yes,
you become a responsible man
absolutely.
who had a job and who is taking a responsibility of each and everything what is happening on board, even though he don't know much about it, but he is playing his smallest role to complete the task by picking a provision,
Absolutely, yes.
by tracking the lines or by taking the soundings, even though these are small jobs, but it make you a responsible.
Yeah, that's what seamanship. That's another topic we should discuss here. Is seamanship. Any rank again that you go on board. So what you basically, a lot of youngsters do ask that where should you start? What should you do? What is the job like when you first time go on board? And like I said, this is for everybody. The trainee engineers, deck cadets, or any sort of rating. I can describe it in just one word, and that is seamanship, which includes everything from tying the knots to lashing materials to how you lift, how don't injure your back, how to maintain a ship clean, all the basics of running a ship. That's your seamanship. And then thereafter, depending on your trade, if you're a navigator or you're an engineer, you develop your skills. You work with, for example, if you're an engineer, you work with the other senior engineers and then try to learn their job. Yeah, so seamanship is what I would describe in one word. So that's where you start from. You learn the basic seamanship.
Sir,
And becoming a part of the team. You're picking provisions, be a part of the team. Any of bunkering, be a part of the team. So we are one crew, one ship, one crew, we are one team. So I've never looked at things as, this
is a deck team, this is
deck
a
team,
engine
this
team.
engine room. We are one team on board, and our ultimate goal is to run our vessels
Safely
and
and
successfully.
smoothly, yes. And Amrit, as we are talking about this, I had a one very just a fine line on this. A girl who is looking for a, she is in the age of 20, and all of a sudden, like we had this, the arranged marriage culture, huh? And the suddenly one pop up thing that okay, there is a guy, and he is a seafarer, and
Yes.
his parents are only telling okay, he is earning good money, and she want to know what exactly seafarer is, what is their job, how this guy is okay, like about army man, huh? We can say in North India, and I can say that proudly from Punjab, Haryana, Himachal, we are the one those are serving in
We are
army
military men.
in majority, yeah? And everybody knew their job, everybody knew their job, huh? How the army man. But how about seafarer? Just a fine line. Who is a seafarer? If any girl is searching on internet, then at least she should have an idea. Okay, I'm marrying to a seafarer, and then who is a seafarer? What is the explanation of a seafarer?
Seafarers, obviously anybody who goes to sea. But you know what? I was listening to the first podcast that you did with your captain on board.
Right.
And I think
Captain Adrian from Romania.
Captain Adrian, yes. I think he described it very, very beautifully. He said, "You do this job as a family. You don't just do it alone. It's your wife, it's your kids, it's everybody in the job. So that's how you do this job." So I think that was the best description of this one that I've ever heard. Coming back to who is a seafarer, if you want to understand that could be different categories of seafarer. Even a fisherman is a seafarer.
I'm
I
just
think
talking about
implying,
merchant
yeah,
navy.
in this, I think now you're trying to imply us as
Yes.
seafarers, as the merchant navy officers.
Officer and rating as well. Everybody
Yeah.
who is out at sea working
Yeah,
on
I
a
would
merchant
I
ship.
would relate it to the answer that the captain gave.
Okay.
I would relate it to it that I think when you meet up any suitable proposal, so it might be worth mentioning, setting your priorities right, and which one of them would be that this is my profession, this is my livelihood, and we will do it. If we do it, we will do it together. We can't be two ends apart. So that's what my stand on this thing is.
Okay. I had another thing to
Right.
just to attach on this. You had 3 kids, right?
I have, yeah.
And when all of 3 born, you were not at home.
Yeah, it so happened, yeah. So it happened, yeah. My first one, when she was born, again, I wanted to be home, obviously, for the birth of all 3 my children. But it just happened that way. I would say it is one of the most astonishing facts of my life. That I wanted to be, obviously, like any father, I wanted to be home for the birth of my children. But I was stuck at sea and I couldn't. I'll tell you about the 2020, my son was born. And that time, I had already received a lot of flank from my missus that you've missed the birth of your first 2 children and you better be here for the 3rd one. And I was very, very determined to do so. But as I went in March, I think I had left India around the 17th or a little bit later, March 2020. And I think the next day the lockdown was announced.
23rd of March is
Yeah, the lockdown was announced pretty quickly after that. And then I couldn't come back until September.
Okay, so
Otherwise, I had planned to come in time for the birth of my son.
okay.
So these are the facts of seafarer's life, that you could miss certain occasions. It's just a fact that you'll have to accept.
And what is the happiest moment for you while you were sailing?
Happiest moment? I think I'll have to think about it.
Really?
I would have to. One of the happiest moments was, you see, I told you I joined AMET in 99.
Right.
And in January 2000, my father, he joined a container vessel,
Okay.
which was plying Chennai, Singapore via
Okay.
Malaysia.
Okay.
And by the end of my first year, I think around July or something, July or August, I got a chance to be with him on board. That was a 2-week voyage. That is one of my happiest moments of life, getting a chance to sail with my father.
You are
Very-
the luckiest one.
One of the luckiest ones. Another batchmate of mine, he was actually fifth engineer with his dad.
Okay.
His father was chief engineer, he was fifth engineer. So I don't know, I'll have to ask him what his experience has been like. But mine certainly very pleasant and a dream come true, yeah, like you said.
Dream.
A dream come true. So I would call that happy. Yeah, that was happiness. Otherwise, I was happy when I joined first ship. I was happy when I got my first promotion. These were all happy moments.
For a seafarer.
For a seafarer, I would say so, yes.
Okay.
You know, your first job, you're getting a job. So how exciting it can be, yeah?
Yeah.
And then when you get promoted, you feel something, sense of accomplishment, you've achieved something. So that's also nice too.
Accomplishment.
Yeah.
Okay. 24-year-old and got a chief engineer license.
That's right. Again, this was something that I had not planned. And I tried to keep it hidden for many years.
Why?
I always thought that if people find out that I had actually done my chief engineer's ticket in 24, when I was only 24 years old, this might not be good. You know, they may not be quite happy about somebody doing it at such a very young age, you know. I just had that feeling. Until 2020 or something, one of my colleagues, we got chatting and then he asked me about my career. And then this thing came up, that when did I do my chief engineer's exam? And that was, I told him, look, I try to hide it, but now that you've asked me quite honestly, I hope you'll appreciate that I actually did my chiefs when I was only 24 years. And he said, I'm surprised, how could you do it in 24 years? I said, well, so I told him my career path graph, and he said, yeah. He said, then this might be like a world record or something. I said, well, you are actually right. That's the first time it kind of hit me that it was actually an achievement, something that I've been hiding all these years. So what I did was I wrote to Maritime Coast Guard Agency, MCA,
Okay.
telling them to give me all my, the dates of the
Examinations.
I had for the chiefs, but I didn't have my obviously, the COC for class 4 and second engineers. So they gave me the dates that I had passed those examinations, the fourth engineer, the second engineer. Chief engineer, of course, I had my COC. And believe me, I wrote it to Guinness Book of Records,
Okay.
claiming that I am the youngest chief engineer to do it in 24 years.
Okay.
And I got a reply from them a few days back, saying that we don't consider age as a criteria for something like this. I don't know, that sort of answer, which I still have it saved in my inbox.
Okay.
I was slightly surprised with that, although I didn't want to challenge, and I think there would have been no point anyway. Because if you go to their website, they've got a 12-year-old boy who has done his graduation. So if doing graduation at 12 years old can be a record, then why can this not be? But then anyway, I wrote it in my book, so that's how my claim to fame is, that I did do it when I was 24 years.
It is a big accomplishment,
Haan ji.
and it needs to be a big applaud from everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And okay, now we will move to other side of the life. You said you wrote to MCA. So
I did,
you
yeah.
have given your exams from UK, right?
I have, yes.
How's the life in UK when you're going for exams?
Very good question. I touch upon this difference in my book as well.
Okay.
You see, what I was used to, and we all have done the same, is you study for the entire year. At the end of the year, which is usually the March, you take an examination
Right.
for all the subjects. When I joined AMET for marine engineering, they had a different system. It's called learning outcome based system. So in that system, suppose as a marine engineer, let's say it is diesel power systems, and let's say it has 20 topics. So you finish one topic and then you take an examination. In that examination, you are supposed to score, I think,
90%.
99%.
99%.
I think 100% is a distinction, 99% is a pass, and 98% is a fail. If I'm not wrong, I think that's the kind of.
I think they change later on. There is some change.
They might have, but at least when I was doing marine engineering, that's how it was set up.
Okay.
And initially, we thought this to be a bit of an inconvenience because we were used to taking examination at the end of the semester.
Mugging up everything for entire year.
Selectively studying.
Yeah,
So
selectively. Just reaching a
selectively
33%
studying.
or a 50%.
Just to pass.
Yes.
But then slowly I started to appreciate this learning outcome based system. Because in this system, you cannot miss anything. You have to pass the examination. So I think that was the beauty of this system, and that way, after you finished 20 topics, you've taken examination on all the 20 topics. You don't do the examination again. Once it's done, it's out of the way. So this way, it is smaller amounts of information that you have to take.
But with a full result, like you have to achieve 100%
That's
or
right.
99%.
You absorb it much better.
Yes.
And the other system where you do take the examination at the end of the year, so there, like I said, you study selectively, and then you miss out the topics that you find difficult or you haven't understood them properly. You don't want to do them. Just do it selectively, just enough to score a decent percentage. But this one you have to pass, and that was one beauty of this system. And secondly, this was in both while we were in Chennai and as well as we were in Glasgow. I think the training as a whole, both in Emmett and Glasgow, was actually very, very good. And this course, I would say, is very much sort of suited to the marine job, both in terms of marine engineering as well as the nautical science.
Guramrit, if I am not wrong, you have given your second engineer exam from South Shield. So you touch upon the study structure in UK. But going abroad for exams, how's your experience about social life and what challenges and struggle you have faced apart from study, education, college, and social life?
Well, as for the social life, if you mean nightclubs and all, I didn't go much to that. Actually, never.
I'm talking about day-to-day struggle, like a new culture, even though you
Right.
were there in Glasgow.
There was. Yeah. So let me tell you, the first year that we arrived in the UK, this was 2000 for our second year marine engineering.
Okay.
I remember, I am from a school where English speaking was mandatory, and I consider myself relatively good at speaking English. Even then, when I arrived in the UK, I thought I didn't understand a word of
Scottish.
it. The Scottish accent was so difficult for me to understand. And it took me nearly more than a month just to figure out, what exactly are they saying. Otherwise, I had to ask people
Twice.
repeatedly, and which was a bit embarrassing. That was one, and then I'll tell you something very interesting and very useful. That was that we actually, all of us, most of us, if not all, we got part-time jobs.
In UK.
I also worked in part-time in a restaurant part-time. So that way you learn the responsibilities. You're earning a bit of money as pocket money. Plus, I can proudly say that I did pay some of my
Portion of your
tuition
fee
fee as well. I paid some of my tuition fee as well. So it was on the whole very educational experience. The time that I spent in the UK. That was when I was doing my marine engineering, and then I came back to do my officer of the watch examination. From that time onwards, I did not take up any part-time job. I did not take anything. I was.
How about food?
Food, actually, I developed a liking for their food. The fish and chips and
cheesy chips.
Cheesy chips. Love the cheesy chips. The
I
fish.
love.
So that's my favorite, the cheesy chips and the fish and chips. So that was my, that was my standard meal every lunch. I loved it.
And how
And then-
about South Shield?
So I went back to Glasgow to do my officer of the watch examination, and then thereafter my second's motor, I went to South Shields, and that's the story in the book.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the during my second's exam, which I thought I couldn't do it. It's all there.
Yeah.
The entire story is there. Then I did my chiefs.
And so I insist all of you, please read a book, and you will find an interesting tale. What happened in South Shield?
Thank you so much. Thank you for the promotion as well. Otherwise, I was not planning on any promotion, but to talk in
No,
general.
it
about
is not
shipping.
about
Hanji, hanji,
promotion, Amrit. It is about you wrote this book, right?
hanji. Hanji,
And if you wrote this book, then we have to talk about this.
hanji, hanji, absolutely. Loved
Right.
it. I've written it because I love writing, and I thought there wasn't enough written by seafarers.
Yeah.
All the books on seafaring and the ships and the oceans, they have come from the journalists, most of them. Great books from journalists, but not as many from the seafarers. And especially from, if you talk about Indian seafarers, very few books that have come out from us. I
There are
think-
very few. I think this is the first one by a seafarer and
No,
by
no,
a chief
no, no,
engineer.
there are.
By the chief engineer.
Even the chief engineers have written books. All the second engineers and other engineers have written books. Captains have written books. Other deck officers have also written books, but they're not as many. That's why I think because they are not as many, the general perception is that there are no books on seafaring.
Seafarer.
Even if they were written, they were not promoted, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
So yeah,
The way you are doing, even you are not promoting your own book.
No, I am actually.
Okay.
You've come in contact with me now, but I launched this book last year in April,
Okay.
and I did a good promotion. Rather, my promotion was highly appreciated by a lot of people
Okay.
because initially it was just a information post that my book is coming, and thereafter I think I wrote other stories which were not included in the book, like the one Vishwa Apurva. The sinking of Vishwa Anurag, Vishwa Apurva, and 3-4 other stories, which were not included in the book, but they were just meant to promote the book.
Okay.
And I got told by one gentleman that you are doing a very good book promotion, meaning that people were aware that this book is around in the market.
Okay.
So, yeah, I did promote it.
Our personality, it developed in a school, like
Hanji.
holistic personality in a school. And you are from very good school, one of the prominent schools.
Hanji.
And the friends, they always guide us.
Hanji, bilkul.
First, I will talk about friend, and then you will talk about teachers.
Hanji,
You are one of friend, Jaspreet Singh Sani,
absolutely. Dear friend of mine.
SD Public School, Chandigarh.
That's right, 2 years together in SD.
You are doing bike pulling those days.
Yeah, scooter pulling.
Yes, scooter pulling. He is having a RX 350 and you are having a scooter, right?
Well, you see,
Adding more into it, if any of you
Hanji.
even got a sneeze, then other would haven't taken a leave from school.
Yeah, we were very close friends. We are still, we are very close friends. You see, 11th and 12th, like I mentioned, I did 10th from Punjab Public School, Naba, boarding school. And then 11th and 12th, I did at SD Public School. That's where I met Jaspreet and we became fast friends from there on. And I can tell you, he's one of the wisest persons I've ever come across in my life.
Okay.
Very calm, very disciplined, and just so much fun to be with. Great guy.
Okay.
And he was going, that time he had this motorcycle that it was Yamaha 350. Hugely sought after motorbike of the time. It probably still is. It's just that they are not available anymore.
Right. It is
But-
not available, but still
But
in a
an
huge
amazing
demand.
bike. The people who have ridden on that bike, they'll tell you absolutely stunning bike that one. But as for our travel, commuting to the school, I had a Bajaj Chetak, a 1986 model, which by the way we still got it, and about 4 days back I've given it for renovation.
Okay.
We still have it, still working condition. I started the engine myself, worked absolutely fine. So I told the mechanic not to touch the engine, but just do all the painting and the cleanup and make it look nice. So I had that scooter that I'm talking about, 86 model, while Jasprit had a much newer one. So this I'm talking about 97. He probably had a 95 model or a 96 model,
Okay.
a much nicer one. So he lives very close to my house, and I would go on my scooter. He was going on another scooter, and we thought, why use two scooters? Why not use just one? And later on, I wasn't familiar with the term carpooling, so we did scooter pooling that time.
That time.
And we decided, let's use just one scooter. So one day would be my scooter going to the school, and next day would be his. So that was our story about the scooter pooling.
Scooter pooling and friendship.
Scooter pooling and friendship.
And
It wasn't just the school that we went to together. Even if there was tuition, we would still go on the same scooter.
Okay.
And even if occasionally we went to watch a movie as well, we would go on the same scooter. And
about
Yamaha
movie,
350.
just I'm interrupting you. About movie,
Hanji.
just a small thing. You bunk your school. And you went
No,
to
I
watch.
didn't.
You went to watch a movie also, something like
Yeah.
that.
So in that sense, I didn't bunk the entire day from school, but I think it was only on a couple of occasions, and one of them was this movie not Mohra. Gupt had newly released.
Okay.
I think you're confusing bunking with the other story that is from my Punjab Public School Naba.
Right. I'm talking about that only.
Yeah. So I'll go there because
Okay.
while we were in SD, we didn't really bunk the entire day. We might have bunked one class
Okay.
just to watch. I think Gupt we watched together.
Okay.
Yeah, but that story is from Punjab Public School Naba. We were in 10th, and this was February 1997, and our exams were going to happen in March. So this was just about a week prior to the examinations.
Okay.
So now this is a boarding school, and in Punjab Public School Naba, there is this something called an open Sunday. Open Sunday is a Sunday when your parents can come to meet you. This is once in every month.
Okay.
Once per month, you get an open Sunday. Your parents come and meet you. You can buy stuff that you like, eatables and everything. Have a be around with your family. We were in 10th. That day we woke up. I think we were three of us, and two of the very sought after movies. One was Judwa,
Okay.
and the other one was Hero Number One.
Govinda.
Yeah.
Govinda and Salman Khan.
So in those days, they used to call them trailers, that little clip of the movie that they show, the songs and the stuff. Now they call it a teaser.
Right.
So those trailers were very exciting for us, and we had made up our minds that we wanted to watch that movie.
Okay.
So this was an open Sunday. Our parents were supposed to come visit us. What we did early in the morning was called up our parents, told them that we are very busy studying. Week after there is the examination.
So don't come to see
We don't
us.
want to be disturbed. We don't want to be disturbed. And so don't come. My father was mighty pleased. He said, Shabash, beta, this is very nice. You concentrate on your studies. We won't bother you. So the three of us, we went to Patiala.
Satbir Tarne is with you, I think.
Satbir wasn't with me that time. These were another two guys.
Okay.
So they were with me. Satbir was another house.
Okay.
That's a different story.
Okay.
Yeah. So we went to Patiala and we watched the first movie, Hero Number One. We were the only ones there. We were early there.
Okay.
I think the first show, but the show used to start at around, I think, 11:30 or 11,
Okay.
and we were there like 10 o'clock or something.
Okay.
Yeah, even the eatery shops had not opened. The chai walas and nobody had opened. So
Okay.
it was just us there, the little kids, youngsters in school dress.
Okay.
Yeah, we were there. Anyway, we watched that movie, and immediately after we had a very quick lunch, and I think the next show, we just got into watching the next show, Judwa.
Okay. So back to back two movies.
Back to back two movies. Great day. Loved
Okay.
it. And then I think we had a quick snack or something and took a bus back to Nabha.
Okay.
So we were very excited. We had done something great, like in a school. you really feel like a hero that when you do something like this. So that's how we felt. So, but we didn't talk about it. You don't talk
Okay.
about these things in, to other
Publicly
people.
or to your friends also.
Just so it doesn't leak. So
Yeah.
you don't talk about it. And so we were happy with what, with our little adventure. Next day morning, so this is, this is such a big school, a big auditorium for prayer, morning prayer and all that. So we are all there. There is the headmaster on the dais. Along with him is the duty teacher, they used to call. The teacher on duty on that day. And, after they finish the prayer and everything, so the duty teacher, he announces 3 names. That's me and the 2 others. And I knew exactly what it was for.
But
I
how
had
they
no
came
doubt.
to know?
They didn't say it. They just said these 3 boys, Guramrit and 2 others, come on the stage. So
Okay.
that was the announcement. And coincidentally, all 3 of us were sitting together. And I think none of us had a doubt that what it was for.
Okay.
So we reach on the stage. There are no questions asked. Our antic is announced. The duty teacher announces on the mic that these 3 boys, yesterday they went to Patiala, watched 2 movies, and that's what they did. Flunked, rather than taking it as an open Sunday where their parents could come and meet them. So they were in Patiala watching 2 movies, and that's is how serious they are for their upcoming board exams. So the next thing was he pulled out a big lathi.
Baton.
Yeah, he pulled out a big lathi and hit us I think 2-3 times or something. And I remember being on the stage and him hitting us with these lathis on our backs.
These about like your school time friendship and about your teachers. As you said, your particularly English is very good, and later on you reach here because of your teachers.
I
and
would
those
make
days.
no such claims as that my English is very good, but it's all right. I can express myself.
No,
So that's all I
No,
would
I'm
say.
coming to that point.
Hanji.
That you're one of English teacher.
Hanji.
In class, he shown your notebook to entire class.
You see, yeah, I'll tell you, like I mentioned in the book also, for some reason, the teachers who had the most influence on me were my English teachers, be it in my junior school, middle school, or senior school. So this incident that you're talking about is a senior school. We used to have our teacher, Mr. Sukram Singh Sandhu. He was a very hard taskmaster,
Okay.
very hard taskmaster. Everybody was scared. And I remember when I moved to ninth class, this was one of my biggest fears because senior class and one of the senior teachers, one of which was Mr. Sukram Singh Sandhu, he would be teaching you. So I was like, how am I going to deal with, he's very strict and I wasn't a very good student. But it turned out the other way around. I think he's one of my best teachers,
Okay.
who I look up to. And he was a very good English teacher, very good English teacher. And I remember in 9th and 10th, this is ICSE syllabus that I'm talking about. So their standard of English is very good. They've got, at that time, they used to have this, it's a play, it's called As You Like It.
As you like it.
As You Like It is by William Shakespeare.
Okay.
Has a very difficult language. Good morning is called good morrow. Tomorrow is called morrow, I think.
Okay.
So it's a difficult language of that play. That play has a very difficult language. So you need someone teaching you, telling you the meanings before you start understanding that novel. That was one. And then we had selected short stories from different authors. I think the first one story in that book was from Khushwant Singh, The Mark of Vishnu.
Okay.
Then we had Flights of Fantasy, which had amazing poems from Rudyard Kipling. If was in that book. And The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. So a very comprehensive English course there, both in 9th and 10th. Syllabus was quite nice there. So that helped us, all of us, improve our English. And by the time we were in 10th, this was our, I think, one of the pre-term examinations or something. And in 10th, it might be in 9th as well, but I remember in 10th, our English question paper, we used to have either an essay or there used to be a picture. So you could write a story on the picture or an essay.
Okay.
I always picked the essay.
Okay.
I don't know why. Most of the people went for the picture. So from the picture, it was easier for them to compile a little
Information.
story.
Yeah.
Somebody's pulling water out of the pond or something. They could write something, But I always picked up an essay. And for some reason, I used to enjoy really trying to create some sort of story there. So this is in 10th pre-board, Mr. Sukram Singh Sandhu, he's returning the answer sheets. And when it is my answer sheet, that's when he lifts my answer sheet up and he says, I'm going to pass this around for all of you to read it and see how this is how an essay is written. And I was like, a little bit embarrassed, to be honest. I thought, I'm the
Same time on Cloud 9 as well.
I don't know what Cloud 9 that time was. But I thought I'm not a very good student, and here I'm being made a good example. It was a bit embarrassing, and I take it as a trophy, as an achievement of all my time throughout my schooling, be it in PPS Naba or ST Public School. I take that moment as a trophy of great appreciation. I really do that.
Sir, there are so many aspiring candidates. Those want to join Merchant Navy. A rating, TME, deck cadet, saloon. Sir, what is your advice for them?
My advice to any seafarer would be that it is a hands-on job. So if you go with that sort of mindset, you will be much more comfortable in this job. If you're looking for like a white-collar job, then this is not the one. We value teamwork, and then have a bit of a Fauji mindset.
Okay.
Of being away from the family, being self-motivated. That's the sort of thing I would, be looking in a youngster wanting to go out to sea.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for today's podcast. It is really good, amazing, and good time with you. You have shown us a real merchant navy, how it works, what is the demand of the job at sea, and many other things.
Thank you so much. It's been fantastic talking to you, and I hope we do many more podcasts and we discuss a range of topics. We talk about old ships, the romantic ships, the derrick ships, how the containers started, the tanker trade, the automation, the change in the working conditions of seafarers. We can talk about a lot of things, and I hope I look forward to many more podcasts with you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for today's, and for sure, yes, in future we will do many more. And again, this is a well-written book. I insist to all of you, those are reading a good books and seafarer, and especially family of seafarers, those just want to understand what is a seafaring life, they must read this book, and it is well written.
Thank you so much.
And today I think we have covered various topics, and we touch upon some of the things which is never discussed before. And I hope in future we will come up with many more, the good one. So as of now, we are signing off here, and good luck to you. And please follow us for more updates on YouTube. Thank you.
Thank you so much.